Oh yeah, I'll do the GEKKO tip. Yeah. All the aspiring GEKKO players out there. I have a quick tip for you. Okay, ready? This is mind-blowing with GEKKO, by the way. Absolutely mind-blowing. Prepare to be blown away by the most advanced tech of all time. Okay, ready? I drop my ults, right? This is like how other people use the ult. They press the ult and they're like, all right, I'm running forward with W. I'm running forward with W. All right, I see someone. I do this. All right. So that's how most people do the GEKKO ults. But did you know? This is my left hand. This is my movement hand. If you chop down the Thrash, it will move in a straight line, no matter what. So you do not have to hold W. Therefore, you can just bunny hop over and over and over and like swerve it around like a little shark. The next thing, if you do this too, if you tap your ult and then tap it again, it will detonate faster. So like you can make it instant tap and detonate it really fast. So like, let's say there's someone around this corner, you could just like instantly do this and tap the ult to make it do that instead of doing a big lunge and like waiting for it to stop. That's new even for me. I mean, some people will not know this. And then another thing, if you lunge, you can curve your lunge. It's a little bit harder to do. If someone has played CS before, they'll kind of get a feel for it, but there you go. You can curve it in the air on its strafe. So if you did want to like launch it around a corner to get someone behind it, you could. It's really hard to do though. That one's advanced. But the other ones are like really easy. One of GEKKO's strongest things about him is first off, in a double initiator comp, you can layer flashes and it's absolutely amazing. And another thing, his weakness of his flash is when people see it, it just gets broken most of the time. So just from looking at that alone, you're like, okay, so I know that my GEKKO flash will just get broken if they see it. So a lot of the time you have to toss it like past them, over them, out of line of sight. You want to toss it as high up as possible because if it just sees like a clipping of someone, then a lot of the time it can get like at least a few tags off. For example, like when I go like A short, sometimes I'll just throw this. And you also, oh, this is also really important. Think of GEKKO utility in like phases, right? So I do it sometimes. So let's say I was taking showers, right? And I know they're gonna fight showers. Let's say I know they're gonna fight showers right now. And I'm like, okay, if I know they're gonna fight showers, I'm gonna use all my util at the same time. So I throw my wingman and I flash with my wingman, and then I peek with it. So now they have to shoot 1, 2, and then me swinging 3 things all at the same time. But then now, because I took this in the first phase, I can grab my util like this, and now I can either reset or keep the space. And then off of this, it's like the same thing. It's like, okay, like step 1. And then afterwards, it's like, okay, I'm going to throw my plant. And then, or actually, I don't really do it like this. Like if I was going to go out showers, I wouldn't do that. I'd probably flash from here and flash over like that. Because this flash, it gets like a lot of sight. The only thing it won't get, I don't think, is like right here. But most of the time, your team is throwing smokes right here. So I think it even gets like, if it lands right here, I think it gets on top here as well. It basically gets everything that you need it to get if you have double smokes, but you want to make sure it's in retrievable spots. So then I have my flash right here, my GEKKO wingman, I pick it up, right? So I picked it up here on the first wave. Then the second step of it, I take this part of sight with it, and then afterwards I just go and like reset, play post plant. So you just got to think of like the maximum way to utilize GEKKO is making sure you can use your abilities as much as possible and as cringe as possible. One thing that's also really strong, doing wingman flash. I do it a lot. Like for example, I think I did it today in a ranked game where there's double smokes right here. I back up, I throw my wingman, and then as my wingman is going through the smoke, I flash with it. Now someone hears the wingman, they're aimed down here, and then the flash comes over them, spots them. Now they're stunned and flash, and I can swing with it. Like I think GEKKO's pretty broken. personally, and his molly is pretty good too. But I think I see a lot of people when they play GEKKO and they don't understand the strong thing about your character is the fact that you can retrieve your abilities. If you only had one wingman and one flash, your character's dog shit. I'm not gonna lie, but the fact that you can get 3 wingmans, 3 flashes, a molly plus like 2 thrashes in a round, it basically changes everything. Like I'll just see people and they're not like aware of like what they're like throwing. Like they'll just throw a flash and be like, oh yeah, I'm flashing here, and then it's like, oh shit, well guess what? Now your flash landed on top of this. You can't pick it up, and it's just like, oh well, that's shocked. Like you always want to make sure, for the most part, you can do like a charity donation of your ability in certain circumstances, but for the most part, a good formula to stick to when you're playing GEKKO is making sure that your util is always retrievable. Same thing is like if I'm flashing into hookah, I do this a lot where like I bounce flashes off shit. So let's say I was taking hookah, right? I throw my flash off the wall right here, so it bounces back and I'm in a safe spot to retrieve it. So the next layer of it is like, okay, you can retrieve the util. You want to make sure you retrieve it. And then now you want to make it so you can throw it in a way that it will clear as much as possible and then end up in a spot that will be safe to retrieve it. So right here, the only spot I'll really die from is like a hookah crunch. Or let's say I want to flash down long and fight it. Like, I don't know, like pro teams do this a lot where you'll like push down long and you'll fight. Rather than like just yeeting my flash over here and it's like, oh shit, well, okay, we either killed people or they're not there, but now I don't have my flash. Instead, you just throw your flash like this. You just be really mindful of like how the flash is. He comes back. Wow. We just got 2 kills. We came back. I got my flash back, and then now we're chilling. Make sure when you're using your ult, you're adding as much movement as possible. I see some people. Okay, bro, Raucus was doing this earlier. Low key tilting me, just because, maybe because I do play GEKKO, but when you're doing the GEKKO movement, like think about. I'm just gonna like put no sound for a second. What is harder to shoot? Think about logically. If you were playing against a GEKKO, what would be harder to shoot? And it'd be like, okay, this person is just sending their thing like this in a straight line. Holy shit, that is so easy to shoot. But the GEKKO right here, they're moving their mouse around, they're flicking around, they're bunny hopping around corners and stuff. It's a lot harder to shoot. You just think about perspective of, if I was in the enemy team spot, what would I not want them to do? And that's like a good basis on like, not even GEKKO, just like any character. You can use that logic a lot. Just think about like what has owned you in the past and then replicate it. Yeah, hopping with the ult is very fun and it makes it really hard to shoot. Now, a thing that's really hard to do, and this is more situational, but some people can do it. It's kind of hard. I wouldn't really suggest it because this one's like really hard, but you can like jump swat with the ult. It is so hard to do. And then you can lunge at the end. Obviously I didn't do it really good there, but there's like certain situations, maybe not in this spot in particular, but you could do it, let's say maybe the spike's planted right here and then you're in you. Okay, you have a teammate holding here. I don't know, because yeah, I wouldn't just do this unless I have a teammate there, but you could like, you can jump swat with it and then afterwards you lunge it around the corner. Throw your flash as high as possible. The higher the better for the most part, because the higher it's kind of off their screen. If you throw it off their screen, it'll blind them. Another thing, if you throw it away from the crosshair, there's a less chance that they'll flick up and shoot it. And then also throwing it higher, for the most part, you'll get more angles. So if I threw it like just like this, look at it, it's only getting like this angle. But if I throw it way higher up, it's gonna get back here, like even back here. So just think about it like that. You throw it, then you go up, you rip alt, you go up with it. Now they're stuck in you, and then you can just reclaim your ult. This is a statement not only for GEKKO but any character. If you don't think you can utilize or get usage out of your ability for like sending it forward, just don't do it. It's like an easy thing. I see a lot of people, they'll be like, oh my god, there's like a guy right here and it's planted right here, and I'm Omen and I'm just gonna throw my blind for no reason at all, and then the person's just gonna sit here and they're gonna tuck to the left, and then it's like, okay, well shit, you just donated that ability. Like, it's kind of stupid. But if you just save it, like saving abilities and using them in a logical sense to do something with them. Like either think of util to either capitalize off it for a kill, to help someone else, or to like stall. And no, I wouldn't call this stalling. This is like a straight up like this, like throwing a flash like at someone here and then they just tuck and they get out for free. That's not a stall. Like a stall is like, oh, they tap the spike and then I wait like 2 seconds, then I throw my flash and then I can like jump stall or I swing with it. That's like more like stalling. What about smoking bomb versus smoking choke point? I would say that's also very context stuff. Like it depends, but for the most part, in majority of situations, if you're playing post plants or like if you're trying to defuse the spike and they're playing post plants, then you can smoke the spike. Like I would say 90% of the time, and it would be 90% of the time the correct play. So don't smoke off the choke, smoke the spike, because it allows your teammates to like kill the people trying to spam in the smoke, and it kind of causes uncertainty for them. Whereas if you smoke the choke, then regardless, no one's gonna have vision of anyone, and then it actually just becomes full like RNG. Like you might as well go to the casino and like hit up a hand of blackjack at that point.